I'm aware that many law students are watching these Family Matters vlogs. And in fact, in the past few weeks, I've had an opportunity to lecture on several occasions to law school students. So I'm going to dedicate this week's presentations to the law students with, hopefully today, two interesting topics which I believe are noteworthy. The first is custody cases. And yes, we all know that the court will handle custody by dealing with what's in the best interest of the children, with the subcategories of dealing with parental alienation and which parent is fostering a better relationship with the other parent, with the children. But what happens if it's a non-parent? What happens if it's someone else who's seeking custody? What happens then? Well, we've had many of those cases over the years. And in fact, we recently helped an uncle obtain custody against the natural parent. What is the court looking at? What is the non-parent facing when it comes down to that appearance? Well, they're still going to have to deal with the best interest analysis. That's always paramount. But they have an extra burden to handle. They have an extra hurdle that they have to get through before they can get to a best interest analysis. They have to prove extraordinary circumstances. And so before they even get to the other analysis, they have to go through and overcome what the court is going to be dealing with. Remember, the court's position is always going to be that in a battle between a parent and a non-parent, the parent has the superior right, which cannot be denied, unless the non-parent can prove they somehow relinquish that right by one of the following legal categories: surrender, abandonment, persistent neglect, unfitness. And sometimes there's another category also, any other extraordinary circumstances, which generally is a prolonged or extended period of non-contact custody with the children. So that's the burden, okay? It's a significant burden, but it's not insurmountable. In a recent Third Department family law case, the court indicated that it found existence of extraordinary circumstances so as to award sole legal and residential custody to a father's former partner. The court went on to say, in addition to developing the bond between the former partner and the children, she more than ably cared for them for a substantial period and was willing to foster a relationship. Remember that key phrase that we talked about earlier, between them and the father, and maintain a relationship with the mother. That's a significant case. Why? Generally, when we're talking about these cases, and the non-parent, we're typically talking about a grandparent, a blood relation. This is not. This is a former partner. And now she is going to have sole legal custody of these children, able to determine what path they take as opposed to the parents. Second topic. And this is an interesting topic because there's always this interplay between the matrimonial law, domestic relations law, as opposed to surrogate court procedures and estates law. What happens if there is a provision in a stipulation of settlement, settling a divorce, where one party agrees that he's going to leave part of his estate to the children of that marriage? Is that enforceable? In our case here, there was a stipulation of settlement. The parties agreed that the husband was going to leave the part of his gross estate to the three children of the marriage. That was in the stipulation of settlement. He was going to bequeath his interest to the children. The parties get divorced, he remarries, and subsequent to the remarriage, he leaves everything to the new wife. He dies. So now the ex-wife and the children bring a lawsuit for breach of contract and constructive trust. So what happens there? What is the situation? How does the court deal with that? And we're faced with that all the time when we're dealing with these settlement agreements. And the court indicated that an agreement to make a testamentary provision is an enforceable contract provided it's supported by valid consideration. In this case, it was supported by valid consideration, so much so that the ex-wife and the children were successful on a motion for summary judgment, didn't even have to go to trial, and won their case. These are important cases because it just shows that these family issues and family values transcend and they interplay in every part of a family's life. Surrogates proceedings, domestic relations, how you plan for the future. And they are important cases to know.